So we all are aware that Warner Bros. Has been trying to adapt a HBO TV series based on the Harry Potter books. The whole pitch was we're going to reboot the series. We're going to make it as a TV show. We are going to um, make it a book per season. We're going to go more in depth, more in detail than the books could ever do because they have to fit inside under a 3 hour time frame. Because I say under 3 hours just because Chamber of Secrets is like what 2 hours and 40 minutes, so around that path. So they're going to dive more into it, and naturally, everyone's curious about who's going to play the kids, right? Well, naturally, the kids are going to be played by unknowns. I don't. If they have any acting experience, probably a little of it. Sorry, still dealing with this bit of a cough, so sorry if you hear me coughing a bit. But I have to say this: if I'm a casting agent, whew, you have to play a lot of hindsight. You have to play a lot of hindsight with these kids. That if whoever you cast as Harry or Hermione or Wong or Draco or whoever, you have to play hindsight that they're able to do the stuff that and hit all those emotion beats that yeah that the characters are hitting. So it's interesting. It's an interesting sort of casting where you have to hindsight it that they're able to can they do all these things. It's gonna be quite interesting. Because they caught a line in the ball with the movies where you find out these kids could actually act. When you hit like, Prison Azkaban and Goblet of Fire and definitely how it was part one where this whole suddenly turns into it felt like a independent film. So you know they have so they hit that mark pretty well with the films, but it's just interesting them doing that again with the TV show. So it's all that weirdness. But the question is, who's going to play the adults now? First things first, I need to talk about the big elephant in the room, which is the big J.K. Rowling political points of views. Do I agree with her points of views? No. But what I have decided to do is let's just talk about the art. Let's just talk about the books. Let's talk about the movies. Let's talk about this TV show that's coming up, and talk about the writing, the set design, the acting, the direction. Let's talk like this, like there isn't a big ass elephant in the room. And maybe just because, from my experience, I grew up watching Harry Potter more than reading Harry Potter. So for me, maybe in the back of my head, I couldn't give a toss about the books. So maybe there's a weird like disconnect with it. Maybe it's kind of like if you say Civil War, Captain America, Marvel Civil War, people thinking the movie versus the comic book version of it. That's probably what it is for me. So, but we're going to talk about the art now. As I said that, as I said that, I today they have announced the adult cast for the first season. Outside of the Dursleys, those will be probably the final pieces, and maybe the odd ghost here and there. But we got most of the adult cast, and it is pretty much most of them we all knew about. But we have a couple ads and auditions to the cast. We got Nick Frost as Hagrid, John Lithgow as Dumbledore, Paul Whitehouse as Mr. Filch, Luke Talon as Professor Creel. But here comes the controversial one. Papa Mizu, I'm probably butchering his name, as Severus Snape, and Janet McKeon as Professor McGonagall. And this is the adult cast. And I mean, I will say this: like, naturally, outside of Lithgow, there's a lot of British actors, um, and I only recognize one. So that's a good sign for, if you are worried about big names and all you're going to see is big names taking over the world versus the world itself. You're going to see that. Um, but yeah, this is a quite, like, of course, the biggest controversy one is going to be Snape, because there's some descriptions in the book about his appearance and some drawings that um, had with what they thought Snape would look like. And my point of view of that is, you had that for 8 fucking movies. My point of view is, you had that for 8 movies. If we can have 17 versions of Joker, 17,000 versions of Joker that isn't comic book accurate, that isn't accurate to what he normally is in the source material, I think we can, and we're all fine with that. It's been a while since Joker just fell into some, he went to 8 cannibals and fell into a tub of them and went full, clown face. It's a whole, it's been a while and we all accept it. It's fine. It's cool. It's awesome. But somehow when it comes to Snape, everyone goes, "You just give us a thing just do the thing." And I'm like, they did the thing. Right there. It's called 8 movies. It's called the films. They're not going anywhere. They ain't replacing them. It's just them retelling and doing new takes and all that. And, it's just one of those weird things that, now with the other castings, like, let me have a look at this again. Like, Nick Froster's Howard, perfect casting. Lithgow as Dumbledore, which was a shocker knowing the whole, rule that the author had when the movies came along, which was only British actors. Only British actors can only be these roles. So that's interesting. But they went for Lithgow. But maybe because Lithgow was Winston Churchill, gives him a boost. It gives him a couple brownie points, and also if when Order of Phoenix comes along and he's fighting Voldemort, remember he's also a Trinity killer, so he can show the badassery. Excuse me. But yeah, all the others I'm quite not aware of. I understand that Makia she's an Oscar winner or Oscar nominated. She has been in Ozark, so I understand that. Luke Talon, who's Professor Quill, hasn't. I checked his stuff. Haven't seen any of his. Mostly he's a stage actor, so this could easily be like, say yes to it so he can boost his career kind of stuff. And then Paul Whitehouse as Filch, easily. That felt like, okay, that feels like if you're in the UK, you know who this guy is. If you don't know who he is. So, the way I would be shocked with the casting is when we hit, like, 2, 3, 4, is the controversy might slightly go away. This is what I think Warner Bros. is very hopeful for. That is, that you enjoy the show that much, you don't care about the controversy, you're there for the characters, you care for the writing, and for the actors who might be a little bit worried that the writing itself gets dangled. Yeah. If you're just that, these actors might just be, there for the writing. Which is kind of a thing. But anyway, Comment below. Let me know your thoughts of the casting below.